Alright, hello. This is a message, I guess, to myself from a failure family. I had reported to the, let's see how. So let's first say what is incorrect. What's incorrect is the space that you take up to say that you establish the dual diagnostic of what you accept, to use heat energy towards something to create your statements on what you define as relativity. Anyways, I try to figure this out, so pretty much it's like what is within our home to that on the the itinerary. It just seems kind of cowardice on how somebody was a bit yippy about how that was, and maybe it was cross-referenced to getting a reset on the area. Pretty much I had gotten a complaint that said person's property was there and I didn't like it, and my fake girlfriend, she's not that much to be like that she ever did anything. So it's kind of like you would put that on hiatus on what you think you exchange as a human being to threaten my occupation, to it not mattering, to you hopefully having to be around or something. What a like I was watching the movie from Netflix about the Khmer Rouge or something, and it was like, I don't know. All of those ones look like Carol's daughter Besco, but Carol's daughters and Arthur Black is like this off-put of like the Masked Man, and it's just like the difference to do it. I was just watching, what was it? Rogue One, and focusing on like Elgo while I was doing that. And I was like, geez, I personally hate the outcome that the dual diagnostics, but things that don't weigh anything on decompression are not what they are as a bonding agent. And really it was kind of like nothing. Well, let me look at this. That was so embarrassing, and how like nothing that is or whatever. Alright, so let's see if I can show some of this other stuff. So we wanted to adjust. I mean, it wasn't said, but what a technique was. So it's annoying that every time that I make a transgression that it was like I was making this, but we were for the 33% of what was adjusted and taken at what was at that time 10K. Look at this, dude. So pretty much before we go into this, we have to do a procedure where we're going to call William, not this other person, but William Trammell is the Perigo person, and you know, you just gotta have to be turned in, is Perigo supervisor. So we did call this and call that, and then they say, who is this person anyways? Okay. So who the hell is this uncle, and what do they do for a living? What the heck? And then looking on the profile of the note, there's the same 21 claiming that at work, to counter that, to give this person a chance to say something about themselves before said girlfriend, on the embarrassment of, wow, your heat energy, stay away from this. I literally am getting, I will get Department of Family a warrant of arrest on a decision on that. And yeah, if you don't get that 10K, you will be kicked out of the department. Because if I don't have you within the dial pad of the interior as an administration and you didn't speak the English to that, then you're blank. Okay. Thank you to July 27 for being too late, so that somebody roundhoused us on some kind of pi anesthesiology to bonding different percentages of metal. So if it was adjusted, that echoes has that 25. Yeah, coming from somebody who is hardly anything that they say and their insecurity, what even? So if it was like an estimate of 5,000 to said pancake swap, then a fifth third to Binance US 2000 2K transaction was stolen. It was reported to the I3. I think they call it like the Internet Warrior 3 right there. That's pretty offensive. Anyways, I placed an argument that Farm Bureau insurance insurance, anything that you could find yourself to say, I guess you would say. Noland Tamer did say that he did not say anything on the return of amount. So attempting to go to 2621 Hazelwood. No, you're done after that write-up. Okay. 2621 Hazelwood was... there's all the reason that the DTI was unsuccess. The wait time, like it being that... Anyways, the internet security was on the other one, was on that 2621, which the Asian family has to be done by 38. And from the industry, I always see that chicken always with the same person that you talk about. So I don't know why is something that not constitutes as that, and your health to the grandfather clock, which was talked about, and the grandfather clock being what is the return, like the returning of the body, the state of the body with data at the standard was hijacked and not returned to Trinity. So the 2000 from the fifth third was an Armeria tone thing, which I did get into conversation with a 231, which the compatibility of the Armeria bank, which I did put in a claim that they should be on American Greed because they have been using the name Ameria to pretend to be America, and that I had found the identity of Cody Banks, Adam Shisheen, Christina Reshianova, Tom Holland, Jake Mitchell, and that Jake Mitchell is pretending to be somebody else as Tom Holland in the eToro, which is adjusted to, it was started at 12.5K, where I received a box of goodies with a shirt like Troy style, and it is not buried into a microeconomy just because you're incapable of being the difference of the embarrassment of what you eviscerate to. You don't know how to think. You do not know. You pretty much that you're willing to toss everything just shows how easily unresponsible you are. And I did report the stolen diploma to the archive. I reported neuro modules to my urologist after. So if there is a M of U design, let's take everything into account of. So 1/3 of that was the 12,500 based on 10, and the 10,000, 5,000 to 200, which it was already split in half. And the agreement for, like, it seems that the notoriety is that you just experience something, but no burn fees. So we are pretty much looking for that there's a burn, and that I did get into contact with a military police group that said in affidavit, Diedrich Fontana pretended to be Super Luck Borovang, so we had to call Hayworth, where I planted his mouth to say Gayworth until he, whatever would happen to him. And then I contact with that said an affidavit would, and that you had to, that I was put at risk to use the hinges of what I should not have. That is just, and everything that has been done for the amount at starting pancake swap for compensating the 2,500 loss. A third Seminole worker claimed, or whoa, West Ottawa teacher 54 or 28 had made a claim, and in counter to the pillage of the extension courts or night crawlers that we romanticize, that we would give Star Wars Jim Cup a Gibby ASMR Jim Cup and a different name for a Jim Cup, and maybe a PF Cup for the trio to ask for after the area was cleared with unassociated banter. That's why you get written up. Unassociated banter. You do not need to have a point of why you are saying something and to be so problem. So the Armeria Bank was a, like, similar spoken crackling voice of a female that I figured would help in a safety gear technique to help out and make our account. Dial pad subscriptions to 313 487 487 8856 or 1 are to be asked to be in the call area. A box of goodies, a BTC pin, stickers, the Troy style shirt, and a tea. I did report the stolen diploma to the archive. That is work related. The number was for Josco, which seems quartet with a unknown bargain in the IDE module. The libraries are in the quant. Connect. How many solutions do we have here? We expect the money returned, the money refunded and awarded for defending the law and being at the hinge of an attempted soliciting conspiracy of extortion, embezzlement, pyramid scheme. I bet I could say it to you. Department of Failure Family was an audit to be an LLC, limited liability company. In challenge, it should be looked over. So the grandfather clock is supposed to be sent to Trinity. Trinity is supposed to have it. Anywhere. Okay. seems you have kidnapped somebody's. Also, there was parts about talking about Dare that someone was attempting to make him call his brain Adam, which suggested a theoretical non-ownership via networking. A network location is later explained in Python as rhetorical button equals to button links to the other to what is cartilage. That we lost a lot of things. I said I wished that turn ASIC into GM. Let the if a ASIC made another ASIC and the security deposit was within the amount and said to that if it was like a algo, or to say against not that its own token would exhibition its business. I think tokens are a nuance on a potential registered brick and mortar business. Somebody who's putting somebody at risk for not caring, 33%, and then 12,500 on the adjusted, and then that's the container. All filtered through Binance, China, Palo Alto, California, San Francisco. No, to be at military. Of the contact between China ASIC miners and the California Armeria capitalist. You would want to be a capitalist in this section. If in Greece law or Greek in Sparta, it's like in a challenge, if you were able to do that challenge to say, and then that is what you are capable of doing. Spoken in the intelligent conversation converter. So then we looked at that, and then there's really like a 500 loss on the other 10k, but to the gradient of a person, and that you make it so much worse, and you make people talk about garbage like Firestone's talking about a main line, even if it is the main line. 600 is this gradient of what's not helping on all these conversations that you thought are had without having the conversation to question how that goes. Like, upsetting my way of seeing that negotiation to not adjusting myself. Like, I gave Echoes Anna an offer, and then to say, like, just that, it would be best if you appraised your business so you don't get impounded during a service fee to file for bankruptcy, to create it as a security deposit per, so by the chance on the authority that somebody do that everything is accounted for. California Palo Alto talking about a Stranger Things reference. It all points to somebody who is immature. Avoiding my request for the main 4 to have tether USD or currency to create a auto check stop. A lot of these things, it's just in the way. There are still some good ones that are doing things alright. Polo, and maybe when that money is like disintegrated to just the service. There's something about alpha, beta, omega, gamma. So the sororities, so pretty much that everything is happening as it is. So what is the point? So in this predicament of what this person was accrued at being correct, it was worth that. I don't see that me in a theoretical Darien has their identity. You've kidnapped and you've extorted, attempted to racketeer, solicit, put somebody in danger, soliciting conspiracy of murder on Failure Family, and so much has not even made a comment for my pseudo security. Change the font. Nobody in this registration has really had anything that was as like pragmatic as like in investigating the identity of that somebody had fruition, but that I do not know how to say stuff to say for myself, and that you're attempting that somebody is doing that at the time is an issue. And as I talked about in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 depths of conversation, that anything that is a disagree is not at the order, so this would be at stage 2 of conversation, at argument. You're not being cute. You're not just like standing around. Okay. This twin is putting us at risk, our life at risk, our career. Nobody is taking the steps to help with the ratio adjustment. If we have a 1-to-1 ratio, 1-to-1 ratio as in whatever is put down, let's say 1500 is put down for the gift wrap of everything and 1500 up, that's a possible turbulence only to the stratos of being beyond that. At ours, based on the levels of being 1,000, then that's what we're looking at to do this. And I teach everybody who's into this cower stance that existing with what is aboard, sometimes from what I say in the coincidence of a bear market, whatever that is to what it is now, that a lot of the things with advanced algorithms, so strategies, wow, I've lost my point. And what strategies, so strategies and something. It's just a challenge at the one of why that's said as well. If said person, revere, I mean, what are you saying? You are somebody, so Eric Winston has just been whatever, and this identity of this. So we'll call, or we'll get somebody in the Value family or the archive to call William Trammell. We have no idea what said 56 is doing, so on alert for 56. Supposedly they could work there or they could not. That's as much as I know about 56. As far as 57, he is just either has his identity surrounded or just pretended to be the age of somebody else who is 57, age 57, and 22 index. They said that they would write that to be alright, and there was a few calls, and I'm not feeling on sensory that anything is like that you're willing to comprehend something to be what you're saying, that you would acknowledge a one-to-one. You know, everything's going on a 4th of July. This cup's not made of gold, and this is waiting for whatever. Stepping Stones is a project to get this. Stepping Stones to nothing, to never offend a business meet. No relational gestures are brought to the actual business meet. Whether you have been with someone in the room. First off, if everything were to clear on this side, then it would be great. The diploma, just reordered a diploma, and then somebody has a copy of our diploma somewhere, and somebody had advocated. What is the personality to an attachment to somebody who would have trouble working to something that would have adjusted them to work, to existing on that specialty, to knowing that. What is that? Rebecca S. Van Dyke is to bring all that paperwork to Trinity. Okay. Everything, so that they can create the other body in the other section. Wow, and it's rest in peace for like the exemplary of the heat action of some kind of Ninja X abomination. Not an abomination, but like that to exist, that it did not define without convoking heat by a bear. That's not a creation. So we wanted that to get a military lock on burning money. Okay. Here's another one. Wandering to nothing is still. Whoever even is anywhere near any of this, the only thing that can save you are these numbers. Okay. Cannot believe you ruined. No, I said I'm not really passionate about a sword of order that is not even kept. Like, what is the point of slashing a 10k that you stole? You stole my sword, and I need it back. Give it back, or you are nothing. Nobody makes decisions for this person except to the next department on a challenge of who they have bugged. And to the actual continuous of the standard of what is person on the aspirations of that on the layering. Yeah, if they continue to bug that security, then they need these cups, and they know who they are. I mean, help my department get funded so the security of the head chairman could protect your insecurities as you disacknowledge how you are dependent on Darian Fimisane as an eye. A claim, if that is true that eToro people did that, then who is the account manager on that? That's the Echo Swan Parkin. A building, haha. Somebody who said that, it was clearly a Sapphire business. We've landed, we're successful. We have the ratio. The adjustments on that is a bit steep. And we would like this to be a reality. And I would like this person to be clothed before you make requests. I'd like to have you acknowledge the request to the department and see if a department cross answers this number or with a 1 on the front. We had played Fallout and it was really fun, and we added that we put the hacker on to get the advanced algorithms, but it's for the integral of the 3 on that. So what is being said and what is the challenge of that? Like, order is something to have kept something at stiletto, and then the law of something is where you get into the difference of what is there foundationally to challenge the fruition of the experience on what is heritaged onto that. The only people that would be allowed to say something like that and that would have to give it up is like somebody like Two, who is younger and says like I need to have a item to have enough duality on decisions. That's a nice relic. So yeah, pretty much just working on that. It's pretty sad story right there. Not all of them are bad. It has to be at GM, but I'm not gonna go with that if it doesn't show that there's a security deposit for the amount and the insurances on this machine. And maybe there's something a bit better that you could just saying, I'm going to get everything off of newegg.com. I'm not going to go with Alibaba or whatever. And we'll see where that goes. This one has been in business since .com, since 2000. And I say, hey, if something goes wrong with getting the product, which it don't seem like the Fed at a rough time until we know what type of business model it is. Ain't no loan to create all this stuff. Hopefully that helped, and I see there's a lot of mainstays, and I do try to get those rocks or obsidian gem around there. If the design is not well and there's no explain to that, I mean, this is there's a bit of theoretical instigation, and I think that Eric Winston or Hitman can do a lot more work as the chief, and that the Chicago and San Diego chief are at the new capital, that a lot of work can get done. And as my fantasy character Dishonored kind of created from that Bethesda group, I use a lot of that. And then knowing what's acceptable, what's not on cookies on the Automaton 10, and what is on cookies is a lot better. Oh well, death and stuff is running in God to escape through. It would be appreciative if there was a charity or a donation on those responsible to return the money so that the sword could be reestablished, while giving the motive of the machine of Darien the ability to see through and through what the problems were with each of these areas. And without the nubile information of what was eToro and the advanced computing, then a lot of these things could not even be tried and instigated to Python law, which is the contact to the button on the router to the traditional of what utilities and tools said person would have. So pretty much we gotta change the settings on that, and I sort of did figure out how to run that, but then when you look at Quant Connect, let's see. Oh, I wanted to show, so we've just been, where is that card? So we have a new quest called Quantum Theory. It was initiated or initialized with a quantum light that is pretend lightsaber. It was only $7.99. Okay. If we look at the budgeting, budgeting. These are great ways to open like suggestions to what you're doing and stuff like that. And I was watching Rogue One, and I was like, so heartbroken. Rest in peace. So pretty much if Christina Rushianova was not Cody Banks and they wanted to be on the dial pad to call on the behalf of Darian Fimisane, then I, Darian Fimisane, give them permission to speak on the behalf of me, and or I would need their communicative, or if not, if it was like that, then I forgot. Okay. I clearly am not running a lot of the commands for what is my mind or whatever. So, no, I would not put it like that, but I definitely think that somebody has stolen part of the head of what this is. I want a functioning piece. This is somebody who is industrially motivated, all well the nuances of alpha, beta, gamma, omega, and end are all there. Okay. There are no consequences. These look like a lot of consequences. The fax is on now since 7-4. All these cards that are on here are so disorganized right now. So let me see if I can find. I have it, I don't have it, and that the service volume is not destroyed, and that the meaning, money has no meaning, and at that point, whatever is nothing, then that's nothing. So then we're pretty much going to do, what is this? And to remember the code easily, it's DF means defense, and especially with our Fiddlesticks character, that we really see that. And self set start, and with that one, but I know that you'll probably know all those other ones, so we're gonna go to the most interesting new one that can be in the post-initialized library, which is add risk management trailing stop risk management model 0.05. There we go. So this will auto sell all the ones that go to 5%, and then we're working on a different one. Self dot set cash. I mean, somebody like Lisa of Blackpink has to feel pretty bad about making a song about making money when people are not making money. Funny enough, to that without being like Kanoichi of being an altruist of running away from Yakuza business, basically. It's a good way to remember we have this, to taking this, we write into a notebook, and that gives us a bit of an advantage. So then after this point, we're still in the library self that add equity. Or we're gonna have to look at another one. I think that you commentate on the energy of not being able to think of something is this concern of an immature Methodist of how you go about that. And I've gotten complaints on complaints spiritually and more already, so whatever. So we'll go to this one. So then it looks like this. Pretty much this is the argument that if what I said before was that if it was already on to BTC, like it was recommending that the token was the industry of that, what was what with it, that rhetorically it would make those amounts. Its parameters are 180, 360. I'm protecting some sort of volume. So those are that. And this can be added to the library. We gotta get rid of all these toxins and expel the depressurizer and itemize these to what is. And as far as my design goes, there's really nothing that is not applicable to the decisions of making those that is covered transport wise, occupational. I mean, as a guide or a general manager, that I should not have to acknowledge myself. To have that sword taken, that's not great. This is a scene when the sword gets split into 3 and then has to, it's like a dagger and it's just whatever. It's taken. So this was a good note on paperwork. Is there anything from that, from, who is that? I know that one. Pink Purple, or, yeah, well, who is this? A K-pop artist. I know this one. People who would be interested in that. Well, I don't know. But then another argument to doing stuff more like this was I wanted to get our body back. And then fish and chips. That this was the quant of that 360 of that. It was whether the chips of that to what the challenge was on return of investment, and that who invented ROI? Donaldson Brown invented return of investment, or is the founder of that term. So Echo's using it in a way that says, or anybody, it would have been illegal. The using ROI as a payback period is illegal. I expect that myself and this department actually gets that. Okay. I expect that that is how it's communicated. I know the specific ones to where I have gotten breaks on doing that, besides that, which it's not withholding anything that's already not to my benefit, is how unparticipantly at risk that is to the actual inside of an interior family, and just not even being able to get the breaks off of that. Well, think of it this way. Don't you think that is romantic that Kui Clean or Kui Lean is a macro gym? I think that is funny. It's well designed, intricated with what acronyms can do to you. If you get more, if you're gonna be more of like an X certificate or what, that my other advanced mint algorithms have to do with the field. Okay. So if those don't exist, then they cannot be used. And the virtualization was not the first idea. So I think the best way to do it is just use Quant Connect free, and then use the research on the right side, then learn the QB. Hopefully, as we trail through this source, that in exchange for deleting memory in the way that teal, or the contact point of aggravating that, then we won't have issues like this. Wow, living in the same house, pretending to be somebody. Also, that I power for this person to say that, and that they're just an abomination, and that there's a claim that they do not even work there. What is that? And that said that I hate Cassie because, and that Cassie is whatever. She had a fun day, I bet. Because you don't cover things like this just shows how much you care about values. I do. I do not want to be attached to this person. No one has ever given me the respect of being what I am saying and not being theoretical, and I'm like at least understand and will take the time on the D server, even if the C is kind of where the story was saying that, to the D, a non-updating device computer. Yeah, I'm not that great, can't really say much, and that's pretty much it. if you had a complaint about what I said about something to not say it and found yourself to say it in another way, then I wish it was written that way. Like, uh, 900. That it just keeps finding it capable to think that this is its world, pretending to be a 57-year-old according to these documents. All I see down to this tunnel is a string of incompetence of just basic shit I ask for somebody to get done, to say that is not a part of them. To if I had said that to said South Africa, whomever, just because that's saying something to not be associated to what I'm saying, to not find volume within it, to show that I'm a fascist or whatever, that I use a 360 pi wedging technique to fusion or normalize the things that I say in percentages, not in comparison. That's not being impressive. That's just saying that everything to what you think is how you think of something that don't really impede on your state of worth. I've never seen anybody passionately ever teach somebody correctly, constructively, in the same mind to do the code right on the on not on a rated, not even being helped out with all this stuff.